Oh,
Good morning, sunshine.
I figured I might as well start the show the right way, just so everybody understands what's going on, guys. Okay, it's Monday.
What happened this weekend?
Well, it's one of those days where you drive to work, and the whole time you're driving there, you're like, "What am I doing?" You thought about the three different ways that you could. No, that's not good. Wait 1 sec. Nah, that's not convincing enough. And then you get that cough. That's the convincing one. You're like, should I? Should I? And then you're like, wait a second. No, because they'll heal me in the car, and that wouldn't be convincing enough. So you pull over, you step out, okay? You go into a ball, and then you take a call like this, and then you call out sick. That's the kind of day I'm having today. Welcome to having kids. How are you doing, Clark? What's good with you?
Dude, I'm good. I love about our time change is that it's 12:30 for me now, 9:30 for you. I was where you are at 9:30 this morning, in a sense. But I looked at my eye, like I got on with Christina on the Zoom. I was like, my eyes really look like that? Like, what happened?
These are extra lines. These are not normally here.
No.
It's all good.
But no, I'm good. The coffee's kicking in. Got my sparkling water. My spin drip.
What's a regular cup of coffee for Clark? What do you put in your coffee? Are you a black? Are you a cream? What are you doing?
I did black for a couple years, then now I do a little cream, a little half and half. Mix it up just with a little food, right? So I don't burn through my stomach. And
that's important too.
What's that?
That's definitely important.
It's supposed to it kind of mess, I don't know. It's not supposed to be good for you in a sense, right? So I tried the black coffee for a while. It's not that fun.
It's not. I grew up with a military dad.
Yeah.
I think I've been drinking black coffee since I was 7, from 7 to 16. I really thought my dad, like I believed him when he was like, it'll put hair in your chest. I was like, oh, let's grow that hair. Yeah. Only come to find out that was the most disgusting practice I've ever had in my life. Black coffee is disgusting.
Yeah.
Why would you put yourself through that?
Nah, good little flavor. It's not worth it. No, good breakfast. Like it's a good mix. It's a good blend. So
it is.
Yeah, man. Dude, life is good. Well, I know we're supposed to talk storytelling today. So
value proposition,
storytelling. So that'll be fun.
That'll be fun. It is always, and it's always feeding the ducks, guys.
Let's forget the worries. Forget the worries of the weekend, Kevin. The lack of sleep, the children keeping us up. A little Wyatt, he started crawling last week and teething last week.
True.
So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. So we're gonna tell some stories today. It's gonna be relaxed, and we might do a little writing. We might not, but I think the value prop. I know I'm really starting to feel it, but look, the value prop is the number one starting point for any LinkedIn, any sales outreach. This is the stuff, man, that I remember. Man, back in LA Aerotech days, I got promoted into sales like 8 months in, and I was just off. I was gonna kill it. I like people. I'm gonna be a great manager. I'm gonna be great at selling. I got this, right? I went from transactional sales in B2B telecom, and I was like, I'm just gonna kill it. I went on, I had a little bit of momentum in the beginning, right? My manager left me some good accounts in the territory, and I was just like, I got this. And then like a few months went by, and I was like, I don't got this. I don't think I picked the right recruiter, and no fault of hers, but I didn't vet her correctly. It was someone that probably didn't want to be there, right? So I was trying to train someone that I don't think long-term I want anything to do with recruiting. Mistake number one in sales, right? That'll always kind of hold you back. And thinking the sales and the value prop, it's like, what are the things that are holding you back? You got to look at first. And then you actually can figure out what your strengths are. And so I had to get a good recruiter that actually wanted to recruit, and I figured out what were we actually good at, right? So a lot of people are like, I can recruit, right? I can recruit. Okay, then what are you actually good at, right? And what do your clients know you for? And we could recruit 30 skill sets, right?
Easily. You know what? You know what my value prop was? 100%. I just
What's that?
knew it. Like I knew this is what set me apart. It's my personality. I thought, I believed, I convinced myself that this, like, but my personality, like that would, like,
No.
that would be the thing. That'd be the thing that would connect it all together. Like, I mean, look, I'm Kevin. Like, I'm Kevin. It's got to be right. Like, that's got to be the value prop. Who else has a personality like this? Right? Is what we think.
That's what I thought. It's like I'm having good times out
Right?
here, you know,
Right.
like
Just
I'm great at parties.
people talking to people.
I got
you know?
costume, I'll go to Pirate Fest, St. Patty's. Like I'm having a good time, a little pub crawl 2014. That's Santa Monica. Like I'm good times. But then what would happen, right? The day like I get out in the car, my AC didn't work that year. It was brutal. Out of my suit, East LA. I was just sweating through the pits, everything when I was out, and I had no plan. And I was just out there because I was trying to get recs. I was trying to get red zones. I was trying not to be embarrassed at the morning and afternoon meeting. So what I clammed up. I turned into a robot for the first year or two.
That sounds like my
yeah.
That sounds like my door-to-door sales experience. That sounds like
What
when
were
I
you
used,
selling?
Yeah, I used to sell Kirby vacuums. I sold
Oh,
AT&T Uverse. I sold
okay.
Comcast cable, and I sold Cutco knives. And let me tell y'all, there is nothing more. There's nothing that will put your frame of mind in a I've got to figure this out than going back around a neighborhood for the third time after the dog has chased you twice, only go to the same door that is not going to open it because you have no plan, because you're just I knock doors. That's what I do. I knock doors. So like, have you ever worked door to door? Anything like that?
I did B2B, door to door.
B2B.
And
There you
so
go.
it was, you get the gatekeeper at the lobby, you get that HR gatekeeper up, there's not necessarily
Right.
guard dogs, but everything. And then it's the elevator lock, right? The keypad. You're like, oh, I'm just trying to go to the 8th floor to go see Dr. Smith, right? Kind of make up a name. So that they push the button for you so you can get up the elevator
100%.
and then terrorize the whole floor. Yeah.
No soliciting signs definitely said no smoking to me. 100%.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't smoke, so that's perfect. Let's talk.
Exactly. That was exactly it. So trying to figure out all that. So what we're bringing this up because I think it's the rite of passage for everyone in sales. Like you're trying to find your way. You're just going to go out and just sell or rip the Band-Aid, right? Make 1 million calls or go to 100 businesses and try to just make your pitch. And then you quickly learn, like, people don't want to deal with that side of you. And it has actually nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's the what that means, that sales person, right? It's almost like that person has no identity. They have no value as a person, right? We immediately turn off. We're like, just get away from me immediately. That's all. I'm going to try to figure out how to get you to go away and never deal with you again in my life. Right. Are you going up?
It's okay. We're going up. It's good.
But it's only Monday, not a Tuesday.
I'm getting getting some energy. I gotta bank on this while it's here.
Yeah.
No, 100%, right? Because and why is that, right? Why do we talk the value prop? Because what were we doing at 18, 19, right, Clark? What were we doing? What do we care about? We cared about what we had to bring to the table, right? We wanted to tell them about how special this Comcast deal was. Hey, I know you know vacuums, but have you seen this vacuum, right? Like, it was all about this thing that we had to sell, and it had nothing to do with these people we were coming to talk to.
18, 19, I was doing more drinking. I was playing a lot of Guitar Hero, not going to class, a lot of 2 a.m. calzones. And that's what I was doing. But this for me, I started, when I moved to LA, I was about 24, 25. Started the B2B sales after I worked in sports and got out of that. And I was like, all right, I'm going to make commission. I'm going to make a ton of money in sales. And then you get hit hard quick. And you realize that it really isn't you. It's how the world looks and associates sales, that type of sales. And that was 2011, 12. I mean, iPhones, all that was still newer. We weren't blasted with everything that we get blasted with now, from calls, emails, just like everything, ads, right? Like, we targeted ads, and they're good. They got us figured out, right? And so when that bombardment wasn't even happening then, but people were still sick. of what that meant. And so I think what you realize, I know what I realized quickly was, how do I flip the conversation as soon as humanly possible to get them from me thinking of me as a salesperson and just actually interested in me and the value that I bring to the table. Again, the word value is going to come up over and over. As I said in the description of this show, value prop is a buzzword that's probably overused, but it's because it's significant. Like and that's what everyone's trying to do, right? Automation tools and email, cold email. You're trying to get clients, you're trying to get good clients, right?
And let's well, all right, we're in it. Let's do it. Let's highlight the problem, right? Thinking about a value prop, I've now that I have my cup of coffee, I'm standing up, I'm starting to think now. The reality is, since 2020, I probably helped over, I don't know, 500 to 700 people with literally this. And the same problem exists for everybody, and probably everybody that's in the audience today, if there's anybody out there. And it's a couple things, right? Number one, your fear of inadequacy, right? You think that you're not unique, right? You think that your uniqueness has to be some like monumental, like groundbreaking thing. You have to be some Olympic athlete that won 16 medals like Michael Phelps, when that's like not the case at all. It's like the little things that make us very special, right? It's those little simple things that we just double down on and make it like an absolute strength of ours. That's the value prop, right? Like a fear of rejection, right? You're worried that if you put yourself out there, you might get rejected or criticized. They might tell you no 100%. We're not here to lie to you or blow smoke. You absolutely will hear that. But that's, the wall is the way. Like that's the way you want to go. That external feedback is what's going to help you realize that this is a strength, right? In order to do something you've never done, you're going to have to become somebody you've never been. And like, that's just a part of the process.
Yeah. How did that start? I mean, I love the wall is the way is a great line. Yeah, that's great. It's a great content headline, right? As we talk about that. When did you start making that shit? Well, let's take a step back. You've mentioned transactional. In the course, we talk about transactional versus consultative selling. There's a lot of extremely successful transactional salespeople out there, and some could be in recruiting and staffing. Don't get me wrong, that works for some people. The digital recruiter way, we have established that's not the way we want to go about it. We want meaningful partnerships for however long those last, right? Because some accounts, typically, even your best accounts aren't going to last more than 2 to 3 years in hiring and staffing and everything. But like in that time, we want to enjoy the work, enjoy the partnership, get results, clear communication, right? Overcome problems together, and kind of just let's get it done, right? Not all the typical friction points that you get in a lot of recruiting, right, with agencies and partnerships. When did you? I guess for you, what are your thoughts on transactional consultative? Because you've done both, right? And kind of what made you pick going down the consultative route?
Yeah, I grew up on the Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, ABCs, always be closing style, right?
Yeah.
I can remember 17 years old being in my first door-to-door sales meeting. When they sell you the dream, they brought this whiteboard out there. They brought this dude with this like beautiful suit. I mean, beautiful suit. His shoes were immaculate. I could see my reflection in them. His car was amazing, right? And then he gets this marker and he goes to the whiteboard. He puts all these big numbers on there about all these things we're going to do and we're going to sell. And look, this is how you have to look at your prospect and their prospects, right? That's all they are. They're a number to you, right? And the number, you want to increase the number, and it kept talking about these people as these inanimate objects. And that just from me as a human being and how I grew up, how my mother raised me, how my father raised me, that didn't speak to me at all. So there was already this friction internally. But then I went out there and I tried it. I tried it their way for 4 years, doing different door-to-door, different methodologies. And the whole time, every day I would go home, I'd have to shower. And right before I put my bed down, as I'm about to go to sleep, there was always like that. Like I knew there was just something off. There was something off. So it never felt right. And I'll tell a quick anecdotal story. The day that I realized that everything was different, I was in Miami. It was it's 2010 in Miami. We are doing charter cable. We're selling charter cable. I go to this neighborhood. It's obviously a neighborhood where people have a lot of money. Okay. I go down I go through the houses through my normal shift, go through the houses. I go to the biggest house on the block. Okay. And I'm like, hey, this is going to be the one that sells. They got a Lambo there. They got a Ferrari. They got like 7 different cars, biggest house on the block. I go there. A woman answers the door, incredibly kind and nice, friendly, has a whole conversation with me. Okay. I'm coming there with a cable service that she needs. Actually, she's like, oh my God, like it's crazy that you're here because I was going to sign up yesterday. So let's just do it with you. Okay. Go through the whole process, sign her up. And I'm like, perfect. Can I get your social so I can do a credit check? Gives me the social, no problem. Do that credit check. What do you think happened? Declined. And I was like, wait.
On this big old house.
Right? On this big old house, 5 cars, right? All right. I look inside the house. They got all this stuff. They got paintings, murals. It is beautiful. Okay. And I walk out and I'm like, that was weird. Okay. Go throughout my whole day. Okay. Go to another neighborhood that day. That neighborhood is run down. Go to, I swear to God, the clumsiest, most just the worst disheveled house on the block. They got cars in the driveway. They're not Ferraris. They're Pintos, right? El Caminos, right? That have been there for years and years. Go to the door, knock. Gentleman comes out. Charter cable. I'm here. Perfect. I've been needing this. Let's sign up. Get his social. You know, I'm on the call talking to the lady. I'm like, look, I know what's going to happen. So can we just do this quick? Like, I know. And she's like, approved. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? She's like, yeah, he's approved. Sign that man up. And my whole mindset changed about what life is about. And I know I told this whole story, but like, it comes to this, like the biggest house on the block with all the cars that made it looked like they were somebody that they were not. And then I view this other house that is the exact opposite, where it has cars in the driveway, disheveled, and the person coming out looks like they hadn't shaved or showered in years. Credit score is like an 850. Blew my brain, blew my mind that it's possible that we buy things for emotional reasons and then rationalize them after, right? But there's also some people that are really smart with their money, that are thinking ahead. And so, you know, my whole thought process on transactional versus consultative changed because I sat with that gentleman. I had a conversation with him and I learned about like, no offense, dude, but I went to this other house and it was like this and this happened. And he was willing to have this whole conversation with me. And like, just my whole brain changed on relationship, having meeting people where they're at versus just trying to sell somebody. And then having this story in my head about what that's like, right? So I had to, and so anyway, long story. Yeah.
That's a great story though. I mean, it's
Your
not just it's not even transactional consultative. That's how you got to approach sales. And as I'm going to bring back to the value prop and how that ties to kind of a little further down the path, people get all caught up in the replies or what does this mean or that mean. And I think there's so many people are looking for a reason for something not working out. And that's half the battle with sales. And this is why the value prop is so important. You got to know who you are, who you solve problems for, what your strengths are, because you got to keep digging to get there because it's so easy. You talk about the emotional reasons and justifiable logic. Well, how emotional is it? I don't need to knock on that house, or, oh, I don't want to bother that person. I don't want to do the outreach and all that. And we don't have a plan. We don't have a value prop. It makes it so much easier to not do it. I'll do that tomorrow, right? It's just like if you're on a diet, do you have a bunch of junk food in the house? No, you get rid of it. You like get out of the house. It can't even tempt you. And that's part of what we talk about everything in Digital Recruiter is how do we systemize a lot of the stuff that on the top of the funnel you could emotionally justify for not doing it that day, right? So automation isn't about spamming people. I don't care if you connect with people every single day, but connect with people that are going to have a really high likelihood of resonating with your value prop every single day. And you might not have it figured out today, but you can come up with something, right? You've made some placements, like you've been out there. There's an industry. You can find those people on Sales Navigator or even LinkedIn basic search and just connect, like fix your profile So that person can see a connection request with you and resonate with your profile. Oh, you're a construction recruiter? I'm a superintendent. Sure, I'll accept. Right? You don't even need a message for your value prop to resonate. And like that's why it's so important. Because if you have it dialed in, you can just be you out there and your market will connect with you. You don't have to pitch. You don't have to pitch slap. You don't have to know what their credit is or if they have a big house or a fancy profile or not fancy profile, right? The recruiter version of that would be you get a candidate in your inbox that has no profile filled out, maybe one word, they turn out to be a perfect fit for the role. It's like, man, I would not have guessed looking at the profile because you got to just pick up the phone sometimes. And the value prop in marketing is the same thing, but you can do it on the front end. That's what makes it so beautiful, right? As a recruiter and as a producer, we're so used to just having to create our own momentum. We'll build it once with the right strategy and let it just roll for you every single day. That is the difference with the value prop. And it is the difference I see with people that get crazy ROI from this program and the ones still kind of spinning their wheels just in general, or if they work with us, it's like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. Like you got to pick something, you got to own it. So spend more time on your value prop before you get carried away with automation and content. And I'll tell them till I'm blue in the face, but like that is what matters. That's what opens up everything. I'll stop.
No, I think and well to segue that and don't allow this process to be too complex. Like, what are your core strengths? Communication, sales, design, creativity, math, marketing. Like, what is it? What experiences make you stand out? And to that point, right? Like, it's usually way more simple than we think. Again, like it's not some monumental, groundbreaking thing, right? It's like one small thing that you do differently, right? But that's an absolute core strength. We talked about this earlier, right? Like, is it a process? Is it a deliverable, right? 3 qualified candidates in under 2 business days. What hiring manager doesn't want that, right? That's a value prop. How quickly you provide candidates. That's a value prop. Again, boom, 3 qualified candidates in under 2 business days, right? A process. I find people in non-traditional places, right? That's another value prop these days. Everybody is not on LinkedIn. There are people on Reddit, on Quora, on Twitter Spaces that are amazing at what they do, right? Go ahead, Clark. I know something. Oh, Clark's got it. You're muted.
Oh, I know. I think I added the wrong screen, but it's okay because I can get to that one. Oh, I'm here. All right. So I'm going to go through even just quickly, right? Because people are like, well, what do you mean by value prop? So I'll tell you how I founded the Digital Recruiter. We'll just go one step by step. Right? And in case you were wondering, right? Sports, sales, recruiting, right? Consultant / kind of screwed up my life. Bounced back here. This is why I learned LinkedIn, right? The lead gen company, working with recruiting agencies, but other industries. Working with Shea Robot team and handling that inbox for a couple of years. I saw the power of content and inbound leads, right? So I get recruiting and staffing. I consulted some companies internally on their hiring. LinkedIn, lead gen. I learned about automation, how many calls, how much money you can make just from LinkedIn outreach. Learn the inbound piece of it here, while also still kind of learning marketing starting January 2018, testing it for myself on Facebook with content there and starting to kind of see that it really worked, right? And some of those strategies. So what did I do? I just put it all together. Like that was my value prop. I realized a lot of recruiters didn't know how to get the most out of LinkedIn. They didn't know about automation or content, but I had the inside scoop and I knew it and I tested it. And then I just started posting myself. What I always talk about, like the 3 C's: connect, call, and content. I could connect every day. I could get on the phones every day. I could post every day, right? And I just shared what I had learned and what I knew to be true about recruiting and staffing and automation and content.
By the way, you need to start calling that a mental model. Just FYI.
Go on. What do you mean by that? I mean, I know
because it's a framework that allows people to make it easy to understand your process. And so me and Clark are now talking one-on-one with you guys, but that's those 3 C's. Whenever I break down any process, I always try to apply a mental model to it so that anybody that's listening is like, hey, the 3 C's: connect, clarify, and then boom.
Yeah.
That way they can.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I got you. So you meant that piece. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I got you. Yeah. So I had it somewhere. I'll bring it up. Yeah.
But no, no, 100%. And I like the way that you kind of story formed it up as well, in terms of how you set up your profile, because that too, right? You want your story to accentuate whatever that unique value proposition is. There you go. Boom. Connect, content, calls.
That's it, right? And kind of what we, in terms of how we help operate, people are like, well, what do I, I've already good at sales. I bring in business. I have it. It's like, great. You're connecting with people, or you have a network, and you're on the calls consistently, right? You're bottom of the funnel, but are you posting content? No, I'm not. Right. Well, what are your goals? Well, I want to be able to grow without having to spend more hours. And I want to tap into the digital space and get these inbound leads, because we do what we do so well, but no one knows. I'm like, all right, we got to post every day. Well, that seems like a lot of work. Or I don't know what to say. Well, that's why we exist, right? Because we've done that. We do connect content calls every single day. What people are learning from us is how to round out their whole outreach and inbound strategy without having to just constantly do all the calls and everything else. Like, how it's called leverage, right? You want to leverage in our kind of wacky experiences. Me and Kevin, we put them all together, and it's created a significant leverage. And that's what we're teaching people, is like, leverage your wins, right? Leverage your connections, but also how do you make more, right?
Yeah.
Well, with an optimized profile, you can show all the wins and the value that you've added. New people that are in your target market are going to come to you more, right? Content, right? You start sharing the insights and everything you know about hiring, what you wish managers knew, you wish candidates knew, right? How to be able to stand apart from other recruiters, right? Low barrier to entry in recruiting, a high bar to success, right? Yeah. So everything you're doing with marketing is to elevate yourself, right? With that content piece. That's why, like, this isn't, you don't outsource it to us. We're going to show you, we're going to collaborate with you how to do that together, right? Your value prop, your wins on digital paper, if you will, right? Through video or through text or podcast, whatever it is, that you have that piece, all that, so you can be on the calls on the phones every day, right? And you're going to be, anyone's working, you're already on the calls, but how do you get more relevant calls, right? Yeah. And get rid of calls that aren't relevant. So every call is on your calendar. There's intent, there's purpose, right? It might be a VP of sales that is a candidate right now, but could be a client later. It could be a VP of sales that needs help hiring right now, right? It could just be a network connection. It could be an old client, right? Like, whatever that looks like, right? But if you've automated some of your connections the right way, and you got your content strategy, and that's going out every day, well, shoot, right? How do we make money in this industry? On the phones. So you have way more time to be on the phones, but you're not neglecting the other two C's.
So let me solidify that flywheel for folks real quick. So maybe right now you're just posting. No. Hell, maybe you're sending messages and posting. Think about how that works, guys, right? And maybe but maybe you don't, right? You get on LinkedIn, okay? The best way that we have found to make LinkedIn work for you, to leverage it to the best of its ability, is to get on LinkedIn first and make sure that your profile speaks to who your audience is and who's going to come see your profile, who you want to connect with, right? And again, what accentuates your value proposition, okay? When you do that, when you send messages to all these people, because that's what you're going to do, right? Because we have to connect. You're going to send messages to these people, okay? They're naturally going to want to do what? They're going to want to go back to your profile and see who you are, right? See what's up, okay? Luckily, you have this optimized profile that speaks to them, their pain points, right? They're in construction, and you are a construction recruiter. Fantastic. It makes a lot of sense to connect with you. Perfect. Now, you start writing content. Every day you're writing content that speaks to the pain points of these people, right? Their dreams, their aspirations, right? You're talking directly to them and how they feel. Awesome, right? So now when you send the message, right, they've seen your content already because you're in construction. They're in construction. One of their friends commented on your post and they saw that. So now they're familiar with you. They don't know who you are, but they're familiar with you. So when your message reaches their inbox, that's a little warmer, right? That's a bit warmer. So now when they press connect back, they don't send you a message, but they just press connect. There's still a warmness there, right? And now The great thing is you're still writing content. So you're keeping them warm with your content every day that you can. And you're talking about all these things that resonate with them. Because again, you're in construction and they're in construction. So it just works, right? And then the next thing that happens, this amazing thing is sometime in that span, and it doesn't always happen this way, but a lot of times for me and Clark, it happens this way. These people reply to you out of nowhere, out of the blue, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 months later. And they're like, hey, I've seen you in my feed. We're connected. Let's just call. They won't even tell you what it's about, but they're like, hey, I want to schedule a call with you next Thursday. You know exactly what that is. Why? Because your profile is optimized and talking about exactly what they would want to talk to you about. Your content is speaking directly to them. And now they're ready. Because what do we talk about always, Clark? Right place, right time, and right person. And they might not be ready the first time you reach them. That's why we do the content piece and why it's so important to always stay top of mind.
I love that. I love that phrase that we came up with that, but we've brought it to life, right? With the digital recruiter. I just think back to the 10 to 15 meetings I had to go on every week at Aerotech, and boots on the ground and calls and emails. And I was always trying to get ahead of the ladder, of the agency ladder, right? Compared to the competition. And when we got the value prop dialed in, it was skilled trades. We had, some general labor, some forklift drivers, and skilled trades, right? Electricians and mechanics. That was going to be the bread and butter. And it made it so much easier with our value prop to get better meetings, to get better role, better. Imagine if I was able to connect with all those managers in my territory on LinkedIn and have content. I mean, the amplified effect that would have had to the value prop, it would have been insane. That's why I built this. That's why I do what we do, because of the absolute value that it just, of all the work that I put in, that you put in, that, you listening, that you put into your recruiting desk. Like, to me, I feel like you owe it to yourself to find the areas where you can relieve some of that pressure, because you can focus on some of those kind of like bottom of the funnel tasks, right? If you can connect with more people, right, bring them into your sphere and post content, stuff that you're already doing and talking about, get that out there, and you're relieving the pressure. You're giving yourself more opportunity to have success. And that ultimately is what we want for people. That's why we're talking about value prop. You're even paying attention to us. Because you're like, how do I have more success, right? How do I have a better business, better at recruiting, better at automation or content, right? And that's what we want for you. But it does start with that value prop. Like, why are you doing this? Who are you doing it for? Have you done, how have you done it well before, right? Because you're going to do that every day anyway, right? In recruiting, you're trying to figure it out. That's why you invest in tools and everything else. But like this,
and all we're really doing here, y'all, and all we're really talking about is positioning, right? This is allowing you to position yourself as the best or only solution for this person, okay? Because you have to convince, right? So y'all want 3 C's? Clark likes 3 C's. Me too. You know what the 3 C's are? Your value proposition are: connect, clarify, and convince, right? You have to convince too. How are you going to do that? What benefit will they get out of working with you? Why do they need to know? Right? Does your unique value proposition save them time? Does it save them money? Right? As a result of working with you and you getting them 2 qualified people in 3 days, does that allow them to now make it to their son's basketball game that they couldn't make it before? Wouldn't that be cool? Right? How can you connect your value proposition to how you help them, right? Like, so when you save costs, when what you do and you do so well saves them costs, guess what? They can put that money to something else that they can invest in. Now their business can grow in ways they never thought before, because they didn't have that realization. They didn't have somebody that was saving them time and money, right? So you not only do you have to recognize your unique value proposition, but you have to understand how it benefits these other people, this corporation, and then tie it to that personal internal feeling they have, right? If you're saving them time, then they must have time to do other things they want to do.
You make me think of something we have to say.
I know. Go ahead.
So many people in outreach, and this is why we try to help guide to the other side. It's mental. It starts with your mindset first.
Of course.
They're so worried about who's saying no and getting rejected.
Right.
You don't even think about the potential of someone saying yes. Right. Yes to the terms that you've set and you've established. And that's positioning, that's authority. And I don't know whether there's something in our society or what it is, but we have this feeling that we're not allowed to ask for what we want.
Mm.
And not in a way, there's plenty of narcissists out there. I'm not saying it that way, right? It's like not wanting in terms of just like for me, but like, what do you want for an ideal business, right? You want to do things the
Yeah.
right way. What does that look like? Map that out. Who are the types of people you're working with? Your ideal client, your best client. How do you get more of those? It's okay to want 10 of your best clients, right? And not be like, oh, so grateful for the one. It's almost, how do you clone that in a sense, right? It's like that's like dream big in that sense, not just a bunch of random dreams, but you have a great client. Like, what does more of that look like? And then learn to communicate, to say it out loud. Right. My best clients, they know they're my best clients because I show gratitude to them individually, publicly. Like, and then I reinforce the behavior. Like, this is why you're a great client. Like, I wish everyone implemented like you and worked like you and just like ask questions and is coachable and push back in a way, right? In a sense, like I don't mind getting pushed back at all. Right. But there's an
Mhm.
attitude, there's an approach to it and all that. Like, you can cultivate the environment that you want. You can't control the environment completely. You can't control everything, but you can cultivate it. And that's where what starts happening in the value prop. Like, go out and get the business that you want, that you know you can fulfill on, versus, well, I, I can't help anyone. Well, there's no strength in that. There's no
Yeah.
confidence in that, right? And people, hiring managers, they want to work with a confident recruiter that can lead them into the unknown of hiring, because that's what it is. Every interview is different. Every candidate's different. Every role is different. It isn't a constant unknown, right? So who do you want? Well, people weren't going to follow Christopher Columbus if he wasn't a good captain, a good leader, right? Like, people want to follow good leaders, like out into the unknown. And like, that's this thing. So you have to establish it here, but you have to establish the direction, the compass, the rudder. Like, you got to do it. And
Well,
it can open
well,
up. That's the first step.
and getting back to it, and we talk about this often again in the content. They are the hero and you are the guide. You have to guide them to their destination because they don't know. You are the expert for a reason. They're hiring you as a hiring expert because they do not know. So you have to be that person. And to make this as tangible as possible, because I have it written down and it's here. And again, like, I just want to spell it out for everybody. I know we didn't really necessarily go over the how-to part of it. If you want to know more about that, feel free to DM me here. But in thinking about how it doesn't have to be monumental, it doesn't have to be grandiose. My value proposition to hiring managers that want to hire me is this. In 2023, I placed 57 candidates in 4 weeks or less, saving my clients approximately $10,000 on each role in 2 weeks of time across 7 different industries. That's it. The answer has specificity and measurability, right? I clarified who my audience is and what they would want to hear, right? 57 candidates total in 4 weeks or less. Okay. I connected my audience concerns, time saved, cost saved, 10,000 on each role, 14 days total saved. And then I added some intrigue to engage them at the end to further convince them that they need to know more across 7 different industries, right? Don't overthink it. What is that small thing that you've done differently that maybe your clients in the past have mentioned that you were like, nah, maybe you didn't even believe it. Maybe each and every client tells you, because this happened to me. And I'm like, I'm just so humble. I'm like, nah, really? No, believe it. You should believe those things. It's usually the things that people tell us about us that we're like, those are the real things that we should believe. Like, growing up, people would always be like, Kevin, you have the gift of gab. Kevin, you have more empathy than most people. Kevin, you have more energy than most people. And I'd be like, really? It wasn't until like I believed it and started recognizing and using it that it actually became my value prop. So like, oftentimes it's what your customers say about you.
No.
I know I'm saying a lot.
I said great things, right? It said great things. I mean, I think for the digital recruiter and for me, it's evolved significantly. And being a newer company, right, 2.5 years in now, it's been interesting to understand the value prop, right? And kind of, I think it's really come to light the last couple of months more of how that's evolved, and working with you and talking with you, doing these lives, is we helped. It's a lot of like you take the offline to online, right? Like we help take like what works for you offline and put that online in terms of the approach and building great relationship. But everything we do is about getting better clients and better recs. Like that's what we help agencies do. Whether you're brand new or whether you're a veteran and you're like sick of relying on referrals, or your network, or you're like, I'm doing all this stuff great online. I want to get this on the marketing and content and everything. That's what we do. Get more of better clients and more of better recs. Like that's it. And less time and less money, right? Without spending an arm and a leg on tools.
And that matters so much because without better, so the underlying of what I just said, 57 candidates in 4 weeks would never have happened if I didn't understand how to get great clients and great recs. Because I would be spinning my wheels with bad clients and bad recs that could not be fulfilled, where I would have anxiety and depression, and I wouldn't be able to keep my energy and enthusiasm. The reason I was able to place 57 candidates last year is because I had all my energy, enthusiasm, and creativity to do it, because I had great clients and great recs. And once you establish that and work with those people, it's hard to understand it until you have it and understand it. Like how much it alleviates from your emotions, how much it alleviates like your at home life of just the anxieties you have, just everything. Go ahead, Clark.
You can replicate it.
Yeah.
Once it's, the Wizard of Oz, once you see the other side of the veil, you're like, oh, I could do this indefinitely. Like, no problem. Once you know what great looks like and you have a plan and you pursue it and then you get there. I mean, that's the beautiful part. Like what happened to you, what's happened to multiple clients in the program is they get to the other side of having a game plan and a framework, right? They've worked with us and we figured out, okay, this prospect, this is probably how you're going to want to approach this conversation. Here's what you're going to say. Here's how's you going to approach it. Here's what to look out for. Then they go do it and they come back to like, Clark, that was the best intake call I've ever had in my life, or best first meeting ever. I'm like, there it is. Like if you could just do it once, you can always do it over and over and over and over again, right? Yep. One campaign could change your life, right? One call, right message. Those things are all true if you come at it with the right game plan. But there's about 20 things that have to come together to get to that one, magic pill. It's not a magic pill. It's a lot of, things coming together, but it's one action, one putting yourself out there that 100%. One time doing it that way
100%
could change everything.
It was 4 years of working door to door, going to houses, until I saw in that one neighborhood where it all just clicked to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that is a super legitimately real. Like I had an hour moment in my car after all that happened where I just had to like, let it all wash over me. The 4 years of what I had learned, because that's what it is. Like everything you're doing when you execute, take action, all it is you're just learning more about yourself, your
market and you.
Right. Yeah. Right. You need that feedback. Like we talk about it. You have to have it. Like you have to sit with, we talk about this all the time, Clark. Like me and you, we have to sit with certain pains for a little bit before we want to find a way out of it. Right. Sometimes when things are easy,
big thing right there, man.
Right.
That's a big deal. What you just said, you can't, we can't wash over that. Yeah.
Why don't I just, how much do you think like real shit? How much do you think Tom Brady learned from all the championships? I mean, he probably learned some, but I bet he learned a hell of a lot more from when he lost. I bet he went into a dark, dark place of like, this is never happening again. And that's
getting benched at Michigan, getting picked in the 6th round, right? I mean, just the whole thing, right? In the slights in the beginning, oh, you won because of the defense, because of Belichick. Well, what's everyone saying now 20 years later, right? And it's just like all that work. I mean, you see videos of him. He's like every slight, everything. He just like took it and just like he heard it all, right? And like it drove him. And I think what you just said about being able to sit with that pain and being able to just be in tune and to feel. And then what I've learned in business is those are the drivers. Those are what drive, my vision, the plan, the iterations on the plan, and what we have to pivot. I'm like, oh, the market's reacting this way to what we're doing, or our clients are reacting this way, right? To whatever's in the course, the group calls, the modules, the one-on-one. I'm like, wait, that is the reaction I want. That's not the reaction I want them to have. Or wow, that's a one I wasn't expecting, and it's kind of an awesome byproduct of everything that we're doing, right? So many things that you're evaluating, and then you just get back to the drawing board and you put in the work and then you change it up. It's the same thing Brady would do, right? It's what worked this week and that week, and looking at film and making the right changes. Like, but you have to be willing to play in that game and for your value prop potentially to evolve and everything else from market testing, right? From showing up. For him, it was showing up every Sunday. For us, it's showing up, every weekday, every day that you're working, right? And that mindset, that mentality is critical in recruiting, and it's really the only one. If you don't have it, it's the only way to really not to make it.
I won't go on this diatribe of what it could be, but and obviously people at home don't necessarily know, but just think of 3 months ago, Clark, like what we thought about this world, what we thought about recruitment coaching, what we thought about teaching people content, what we teaching people sales, our whole idea of that has changed. And then like what you can add to that community and all these other words that we're using now would have never happened if we talk about putting your boat in the water, but if we didn't put the boat in the water to see how it float and then did it over and over and over again to notice where all the leaks were, as I mentioned all the time, right? To notice where all the patches needed to be. That's that feedback, because the reality, we don't have the whole picture. Generally we only have a piece of the puzzle, and then it's our ability to put those words, those thoughts, those ideas out, that we can get other pieces from other people and then articulate it to a more whole. And that's all we're doing here. We're just trying to put our thoughts and ideas so we can get signals back to let us know right direction, wrong direction. Should we do this? Should we do that? Should we try? Like, where should we go? But if you don't do that, then you will have no direction. And that's why you're waking up every day with anxiety and depression, wondering what the hell should I do? Because the answer is you need to do something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so well, like, we don't, I mean, I'll speak for myself. I don't put stuff out there to go viral. People know that about me. I say it all the time. I put it out there to get signals. Now I want a certain amount of people viewing it so I can get
Right.
more accurate signals. But again, I don't want, 100 great, the 500 right people, the right recruiters and owners that want to do it this way, that want to link arms and figure this stuff out and expedite the learning curve and get to that type of business that they're going to feel really good about, but fulfilled, but still have time to live their life. Like, that's who I want to link arms with. That's who I'm speaking to. And I want to understand the signals and the feedback of making that happen. Right. And I've had a lot of help in doing that. And I think that's the other piece, as we're talking about a coaching program. Like, it's all right to ask for help. Right. And if you're talking to people and, different programs, I think what I would say is think about, are you looking to not do the work? Or are you actually looking for help in getting the work done? Because no one is going to make this as good as you can make it yourself. Right? No one else managing your inbox, no one else doing the calls for you, the emails. Like, you just got to get in there and figure it out for yourself.
Yo, I'll say it real quick, because Bradley just said what he just said. I literally talked about, Junaid Iqbal is one of my other business partners. I literally talked about this with him in regards to Digital Recruiter and everything we're doing. Y'all, this is just how I am, radical candor. Like, this is fresh off the dome. When I partner with Clark here, I was still in a place of figuring it out for myself. I was in between 3 different businesses, working with 3 different business partners, just trying to figure out, like, what's my value proposition? What do I offer to the market, right? And through this process, personally, I started to adopt the Digital Recruiter way, okay? But almost too much, because the reality is I didn't have the full story. I didn't know enough about the Digital Recruiter way to actually adopt it as my own, to actually evangelize it on a market in a way that I would believe it, right? It has to be your own, guys. It has to be your own. Nobody can give you believability. There's no brand out there that can give you your confidence. You have to earn that all for yourself. And so for the last 4 months of working with Clark here, that nobody knows, of course, I've been working under the Digital Recruiter umbrella, but I've been trying to find my own way, because the reality is Clark here has been building Digital Recruiter in his own brain, in his own frame of mind, in his own methodology, right? He made it his own. A lot of the tenets, the the consultation, what we teach is through what Clark has learned, his story. How the hell did he get to learn what he learned? Through failure, through, right? But I have too. So I have to figure out a way to include my story in the digital recruiter story to make it this bigger thing, right? So think in abundance, not scarcity, right? No ego. We both came at this with no ego. How can we grow this thing to be as big as possible? Why? Because that way we can help a hell of a lot more people. We can alleviate more pain. We can make recruiters believe that you can do this on your own. You don't need this and that. You don't need just your network. You can write content better than anybody else. You can connect with people. You can do sales, and we'll teach you how. But personally, for me, I had to learn how to do it my own way. Yes, I help write a lot of the content, but this whole process, talking with everybody, it's all a process of figuring out what is my unique value proposition to what we're doing. What's that one small thing that I can affect change on? What is it that I can really double down on? What did we figure out it was, Clark? Client experience. I care deeply about people, right? So it was 4.5 months of us working day to day, not really knowing where's my place, but we just kept showing up, putting our boat in the water. Where are those leaks? What are the things that make you special, Kevin? Where can we place you where you're going to do the best? 4.5, 5 months where we then finally, okay. And guess what? That's probably not the last place. But now for me, we find this client experience. Now I have direction. Now I wake up every day and I know exactly what to do and who to help. That might be all you're missing, y'all. You're just confused on who you need to help and how you're going to help them. Sorry, I said a lot again.
Yeah, you said great things. We didn't try to have it all figured out before we jumped in. And that's the lesson. Sometimes you got to just jump in. I know talent when I see it. Kevin has it in spades. And it was just like, dude, get in here. You can add value. And I saw you immediately on the group calls, right? That energy, adding value, and people were getting pumped, and just the coaching. And I was like, why don't you talk to that person one-on-one and this person? It's just like, let's figure it out. Like, we worked on the course, right? Those like late nights, like, I'm up 5 a.m. finishing out the content to sales courses and like trying to make those better and better. And do that again last week with, certain presentations and everything else. Cause like, and then we realize like, wow, there's a whole digital recruiter story here that is me, but is also you and Christina and Ross and Keely. Like, everyone has their own impact on it. And that's why it's cool to see some testimonials coming out now from the kind of the 2.0 iteration we started last fall, and be like, that's what we were looking for. Like, that's the impact we wanted. And it's everyone. It's not just me. It started with me, but now is blossomed to more of, like, as you said, it's a way. But part of this is why everyone that goes through, I want them to have their own experience. I don't think anyone's better suited to bring that out of people day in, day out than you are right now. And you can do that. But like, going through the program is about you and your experience, not giving us money and us trying to figure out how to do as little work as possible. No, once you're in with us, strap up, because we're putting you to work. Like, and we're not letting you go. Like, we're gonna be checking in, like doing that. Like, we want you to have your experience, because we know get into the other side of that piece. Number one is only the starting point. I'm gonna give you a whole set of new problems, but like, that's where the fun is. That's where the fulfillment is. That's where the confidence, the pride in your work, the vision, all that stuff goes. And that is what I want for every recruiter, right? That's
the analogy,
down to like have that approach.
And the analogy I see it is, most people that come into our program, and there's nothing wrong with this, guys. It's 2024, but most people who come into our program, they usually want a button to press to make it all work. And that is totally okay, because when you leave with us, you'll have the optionality to press that button whenever you want. And that's what we promise. We promise that you will leave a better version of yourself. And that's the reason why we know that, is because we just did it for five months. And I lived it, right? I literally lived it with you, where, again, we've literally become different people. We think about content and sales completely different, because we've continued to articulate our thoughts, ideas on it. And through that process, we've learned a lot about what our thoughts and ideas were. And we were able to challenge each other on those. Is that right? Is that right for them? Go ahead.
Well, I don't even know if it's like we just come at it differently. but we get to a lot of the same places, and then we iron out, we fill in the gaps on like
Yeah.
as you were very like you were able to audit people's content and study the algorithm a little bit more and like the comment piece of it and all that. It's
Yeah.
like and I knew some of those things, but I don't have time to test everything. Right. And so like it was so complimentary. It's like,
Good
hey,
point.
here's what I've been able to kind of optimize. What have you optimized? And bringing that together has made it extremely powerful because now so many of the different pieces are tying together for people in the program, right? Ross teaching some of the structure and coming up with the different ideas, but then you're kind of coming in like, well, what, why don't we do it like this way? Or here's how to add some, here's how to bring out kind of like your DNA, your personality more to bring it to life, right?
Yeah.
More and kind of that, but like, here's what your client, the reader's thinking and the psychology behind it, like those things like blended together is what's so powerful. And if any one of us had been on an island, it's way less powerful than us coming together. And the fun part is, and I know we got to wrap up in a minute or two here, but is when people invest themselves and they come in and they participate, what they're able not only to learn, get from themselves, but what they're able to contribute to the group. Right. And then that it brings them a whole new level of confidence of like, oh, amongst my peers, I have value to offer and content and all that stuff. And that piece of it and the grind that recruiting is, those are nice. Right? We call them small wins, but like you got to find ways to get those small wins in your work because this is a tough industry, right? It's a tough place to be long term.
Yeah, I'll say kudos to this, to this program. I've personally never been in a program that lasted 3 months or more and tangibly been able to see a transformation happen from the day one that I was there till the end of it. And that's what I've been able to see over and over and over again. And I really, really, really appreciate people that will do the work. And that's why I'm glad that we have the program that we have. That's not a press button templated, no offense to anybody, or AI style. It's a psychographics, the psychology and foundational pieces so that you can have a lifelong skill that you can use and sell anything. So
That's it.
I love it.
I love it, man. I love it.
Man.
It's you've definitely transformed and evolved, and it's great to see. There's a lot more to come. Right? We had to get you, understanding what this thing is all about, and now that you're able to we're able to arm you and you're able to work with people on a day-to-day basis. Like I'm telling you guys, get in here. We got new community being set up. We're setting up stuff with Kajabi. Get in there because Kevin's gonna be in there every single day. And add it. I'll be in there, Christina, all that stuff. So it's it's February. It's a great time to kind of, no matter what start you got off to, it's a great time to kind of make it happen. So check out our profiles, see what we got to offer. Great time to be alive. DM us, schedule a call with us. Let's talk. Let's make it happen.
And look, before we go, it's probably like, I'm going to be honest. I dropped the lead. My bad, y'all. It's probably the most important piece of this whole call. So I'm so sorry, guys. It's the Chicago Twos today.
Those are nice.
It was Chicago Twos. Thank you, Chicago. Kicks of the day, baby. So you got your shoe reveal in for all my sneakerheads. I did have 2 sneakerheads hit me on the side and we're like, hey, those Travis Scotts, if you're selling them, so I want to make my sneakerheads happy. Okay, now we can end the show. Everybody's welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, that's nice. Those are clean. I like those. Well, dude, Kevin, as always, appreciate it. This is
thank you.
This went
this is
direction I thought it would.
Yeah, me too.
This was fun. This is a good start.
We'll
be back Friday.
Thank you. Bradley, thank you. We'll be back Friday. That's right.
We'll be back Friday. And until then, have a great week.
Yep.
And we'll see you next time.
Happy Monday, y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming.